Breaking news happening, so we'll have to cut the conversation short. We have Dr. Vijay Mehta, the president at NSE, joining us to talk to us about the news flow, which is at the bottom of your screen. Seems like NSE has cut the transaction costs materially for the transaction. So, Vijay, what's your first take, and what do you see the impact in terms of the volumes, if at all, in terms of the charges that are levied right now? What's the first take?
Well, I think it's a very good step by NSE in terms of both reducing the burden on the brokers, and our taxes are among the highest in the world. So any kind of relief is welcome, and I think it was definitely a part of the efforts which NSE was doing with NSE, and I am sure that BSE will also follow the steps, and the brokers will have some kind of a relief in their transaction cost.
Point taken. But can you help us understand, Vijay, what's the differential in terms of the transaction charge in NSE and BSE right now? Because BSE, of course, is the listed stock, and we should pull up the stock price as well as to how it is reacting. Because now, as you pointed out, the street will start factoring in that BSE might have to follow suit, and for their revenue, there could be a hit as well. Of course, NSE is saying the hit to them could be around 130 crores. But what are the transaction charge differentials right now between BSE and NSE?
Well, I don't remember it at the moment, but I think BSE charges were slightly lower than NSE earlier. So with this step, the NSE charges will become lower than BSE. And unless BSE take a step, probably the volumes may, may move on to NSE more volumes could happen on NSE.
That's a take coming in, but just wanted to understand, Vijay, in the recent times, what has been the overall trend in terms of the transactions that you're seeing, the F&O, the cash market? Is there a bit of a tilt towards BSE versus NSE? Is there any specific trend that you're watching out there?
Well, I think let's enjoy, if there is anything also between the two exchanges, ultimate beneficiary are the broker community, which is the long pending demand for reduction of transaction cost. We are also approaching the government. We are already approaching them to reduce the taxes. So these are all a part of continuation of ease of doing business. And so far, it's coming. I think we are getting at par with the world. Our difference in cost is narrowing down with the transaction charges being charged all over the world.
More clarity, when you say that we still were more expensive versus the rest of the globe, could you just put it in context for our viewers as to what the charges are usually globally? Where do we stand right now? Because I'm trying to understand, is there further scope of reduction from NSE? Maybe not right now, but over the course of next 1 to 2 years, could there be further reduction in charges then if we are higher than the rest of the world?
Madam, a few years back, NSE had prepared a report, and this was submitted to all the stock exchanges, where we had compared the charges being levied by other major exchanges in the world as well as compared with the Indian charges. Now, I do not remember it offhand, but I think there is still a scope of reducing these charges.
Okay, point taken. So there is a scope of reduction of these charges, a good move coming in. But Vijay, I don't think this will have an impact on volumes as such, right? Because when people trade or people transact, they don't really look at charges with respect to that. So not that it have a meaningful impact on volumes in any case, right? This is just a reduction in cost, which will be a good news, but wouldn't impact the volumes to that extent.
You see, if you are familiar with algo trading or arbitrage, there it's a game of paisas, It's not a game of rupees. So if you're talking about the investor, maybe to some extent your argument is valid. But if you go for really the last guy who is looking at paisas while doing transactions, I am sure it will gel with him.
The people who are those addicted traders doing large trades, algo trades, quant trades, etc. This comes as a good news. Thanks so much, Vijay, for quickly joining us with that take. So, of course,